Take me on home to the asylum. Never alone in the asylum. Anarchy ruled, it was wild, but through it all you never smiled. Joke's on you, I'm in your head, so look who's laughing now. Remember in Arkham City, I killed your girl, so pretty. That was the night you let me die. But when I looked you in the eye, that's when I knew we'd be together. Look who's laughing now. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I fill you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I am the clown, prince of crime. And we've had a hell of a time. You're part of me, I'm part of you. And now there's nothing left to do. I just can't wait till I'm in control. Who'll be laughing then? I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. Oh yeah, I think I can taste your fear. Now that my time is near, I'm in your blood, I'm so alive. I only wish you'd let me drive. It won't be long till I make you kill. Who'll be laughing then? Barbara's dead and I'm laughing. Jason Todd's dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm even dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. I'm cock-a-doodle-doo. All because of you. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I fill you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I filled you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you.
I thought I heard the old man say, "Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, the wind was foul and the sea ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. I hate to sail on this rotten tub. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. No grog allowed and rotten grub. and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. We swear by our oath for want of more. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now we're through, so we'll go on shore, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
We're back. We're back. And the music's still going. Hold on. We're back. I'm out of practice. We're back. Welcome, one and all. Welcome. Hold on. My stream deck's not working. Okay. Professional streamer. Confirmed. There we go. Okay. There we go. How's everybody doing? Everybody feeling good? Bro, I need to share with you the tales of travel. I have never in my life had such a difficult, like, let me be clear because people might twist it. So long story short, I went to Singapore for Black Flag Resynced. I'll be able to talk about it in a couple days. That was good. The event was great. Everybody there, super nice. Everything was good there. Okay. We'll talk about the game when we get the chance. But bro, traveling was a nightmare. Like I was supposed to be back at the end of last week, and my plan was to like get back and we were going to stream, because let's be honest, I was kind of expecting a GTA 6 trailer. I think a lot of us were. So I was supposed to be back, but dude, let me just chart this out for you. Like my trip from hell. Okay. Let me chart this. I just closed a tab accidentally. Let me chart this out. My first flight, Monday, was supposed to take off at 10:30 a.m. Okay. 10:30 in the a.m. This is on Monday. Okay. This got delayed 12 hours. So we ended up taking off at 10:30 p.m., which is just fantastic, which made it so now I would only spend a max of 48 hours in Singapore before leaving. They are 14 hours ahead, so talk about jet lag. But like, okay, it's fine. We'll do the event. I got to the event at 5 a.m. Singapore time and went straight from the airport, dropped my bags off, and then went straight to the event. Like it was wild. But then the return, you know what? Let's just get it over with. Let's get home. Friday comes around. I get up early. I get to the airport at like 7 a.m. Okay. And this is to go on a flight from Singapore to San Francisco. That's like a 17, 18 hour flight. Like it's a big flight. We get on the plane. We sit on the plane for like 2 hours. And then they're like, yeah, the AC unit in the back of the plane's broken, so we can fix it. It's going to take 2 hours, and that will take us over the total max time we can have the crew work in one session, which is a good rule to have. It's to basically prevent like the captain and everybody from being like tired and sick and stuff. So like, I get it. I'd rather a pilot that is rested than a pilot that's been working and crunching for 3 days straight. But because it was delayed 2 hours to fix the AC, they didn't have a crew. So they took our flight that was supposed to leave at like whatever it was, 7, 8 a.m., something like that. And they just said, we don't have a crew now. So you are delayed until tomorrow. So tomorrow at like 10 a.m., we'll take off and you can head home. So they hooked us up with that hotel room. If you saw the videos I filmed in the hotel room, that was the moldy room that smelled like mold. I did get them. They were nice enough to move me to a different room, but I was just stuck in Singapore for another day. Next day comes around, get to the airport, and this becomes 3 p.m. because they couldn't get maintenance guys to sign off on it for whatever reason. So we're sitting on the plane for like another 2.5 hours. And then the pilot hops on the PA and goes, guess what? We're past our working limit. So we can't take you to San Francisco or we will cross the max time we can work as a crew. but we don't want to leave you stranded in Singapore another day. I didn't realize this at the time. Apparently, the people the day before, so Thursday, their plane was rattling so heavily they weren't allowed to take off. So there were people that had been stuck in Singapore for like 2-3 days with multiple flights canceled because of mechanical issues. Again, I'm glad they caught him before we were over the ocean, but still just remarkable because this is very rare. But he's like, we're not going to leave you stranded in Singapore another day. So we'll take you to Honolulu, which is it's like 2/3 of the way across the Pacific back to San Francisco. So we fly all the way to Honolulu and then we sit for 2 hours until a new crew comes on. We get the new crew. They finally get approval after doing all the refresh stuff and they fly us to San Francisco. But at this point, we've passed all of the connections we were supposed to have because, again, all the connections were based on leaving at 10 a.m. and going straight to San Fran, not waiting 5 hours and then having a 2-hour layover basically in Honolulu. So everybody on the plane missed their connections. And so basically an entire plane of people had to spend the night at the airport because we got in at like 10:30 p.m. I think it was 9:30 p.m. something like that. So all of our connections were missed, and so I spent the night on the airport floor sleeping against a window. It was remarkable. It was like I knock on wood, I have been very fortunate that I haven't had a lot of trouble, like travel issues over the last few years of traveling, but bro, I had every single one at the same time. Oh, Hawaii's so sad. Tell us about, we weren't allowed to leave the plane. So because we were flying from Singapore to back to the States, Hawaii, you would have to go through customs to get off the plane. They didn't take us to a gate that could do customs because they were just swapping crews. So we got to Hawaii. People were asking, can I just get off here and then I'll get my own connection back from Honolulu to the States? And they're like, no, you can't. Like, you got to stay on the plane. So we landed, the crew leaves, and we're just sitting on a plane. Like, it was one of the weirdest travel weekends I think I've ever had. It was bizarre. Changi Airport is really cool though. Yeah, Changi Airport is very, very cool. Airport. What's it called? The Jewel. You might have seen videos of this thing. This is the airport in Singapore. Like, they have basically a mall. This is what it looks like on the outside, but you go inside and it's like a straight up waterfall in the center of it. Like, I've never seen anything like it. It was genuinely really, really cool. They do little trams through the middle of it. It was really cool. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Again, Singapore, gorgeous. I cannot put into words how clean the city is. Like, it's hard to describe unless you experience it. Like, it's almost like there's not even oil slicks. Like, it is just insane how pristine everything is. Like, to be clear, Singapore, it's illegal to like have chewing gum. So people joke that like everything's illegal there, and it's they're not really joking that much. Like, if you go to a restaurant that has like open seating, where like, you know, you get your food tray and then you go to your table, you eat, and you're expected to clear your place. If you don't clear your place, they will fine you like hundreds of dollars. Like, if you had something fall off the back of your truck, trash on the side of the road, that's like thousands of dollars. It is no joke. Like, they take it very seriously, but it works. I mean, I had, they don't have Uber there. It's called, Grab is their version of it. But I took multiple rides, like to the airport, back to a hotel, back to the airport, you know, trying to get home. And so I saw a good chunk of the city, and even like the quote unquote dirty areas of the city, the industrial areas, are pristine. Like, there is no trash. There is nothing. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy. I've never experienced, I've been to some nice places. You know, I've never seen something like that. It was truly remarkable. Where I was trying to find, you know, a discarded water bottle on the side of the highway, and I could not find it. I was like, honestly amazing. Like, going from Los Angeles to this is like, bro, it's a different universe. Like, it's heaven and hell. It's light and dark, man. It's crazy. Like, you go in LA and you drive along the highway, you will like count on both hands within 2 minutes individual heroin needles that you see on the side of the road. Like, it's super dirty. It's filthy. Okay. Except for the really rich parts, they managed to clean that up, but the rest of the city is, fighting for themselves. But dude, Singapore, unbelievable. Like, yes, everything is illegal, but it seems to work for them. Which is crazy. Also, everybody was saying it was super, super expensive. They have like their taxi service and their cabs and stuff really regulated, which funnily enough seems why Uber doesn't operate there. Uber sold all of their operations to this other company, Grab, that does like East Asia, Southeast Asia operations. But like Uber from LAX, literally just outside the airport grounds. So literally, it could be a quarter mile outside the airport. That Uber, if it's during the day when a lot of planes are landing, that Uber ride is like $150. No joke. No joke. Peak hours, $150 for an Uber ride outside of the airport in LAX. In Singapore, it's also heavily regulated. I don't think I paid more than like $20 for an Uber ride, even one that was like 45 minutes, because it's all super regulated. And they don't accept tips. It was bizarre. Like, yeah, I was just used to, you go on the ride and you tip the Uber driver if they did a really good job or the car was super clean. They wouldn't take the tip. It was considered like, you don't do that. It was surreal. It was very surreal. Genuinely amazing, very impressive, crazy place. But, yeah, I mean, it was crazy. But again, I've never in my life had that much trouble, like actually just getting home. And I think what made it really, really difficult to deal with, psychologically, is that you just can't, like, there's nothing you can do, like there is nothing you can do. It is there's like one flight from Singapore back to San Francisco operated through this airline a day. And if it's canceled or delayed past a certain point, you got to just wait till tomorrow. Sucks to suck. There's just no option. So there was just nothing you could do. Like, it was just, you were at the whims of the AC unit in the back of the plane. And it was just like bizarre. It was really, really bizarre. So I'm glad to be home. It was genuinely really cool. Singapore is one of the most fascinating places I've ever been to. Truly unlike any place I've ever experienced in a really cool way. I think I have a picture. Like, dude, straight up, I'm not joking. I cannot fathom another, I'm going to show you something. Okay. What is the most insane thing you can imagine being at an airport, just like as you're hanging out? As you're like waiting or walking to your gate, what's like a totally insane thing you could see? That I cannot even imagine if they tried to do this in the States. Okay. They had a koi pond, an actual koi pond with like freaking 2 foot long fish swimming around. Like, can you imagine them trying to do that at LAX? Like, people just reaching in, grabbing them, running off of them.
6,847 donated $19.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
I like money, you like money, stock owners like money, CEOs like money. Why don't they make games quicker or make more games? Cause that's how they make money. No.
You raise a fantastic question, my friend. You raise a fantastic question. I think the thing is, the free market will adjust for what makes money and what doesn't make money. So like, if a game like Suicide Squad, Concord, those types of games that famously lost tons of money, once executives realize those are money losers, they will abandon them. The problem is it takes so many years to get there and to then see the ramifications of it. So you have a Concord like flop, they'll course correct or try to, but you're not going to see the effects of that for like 4 years, because if they cancel that game that was going to come out 4 years after the fact, the game that replaces it is probably 5 years after that. Like it's just got a long layover, whatever the term would be. So there's that. As for like why we see so many baffling decisions. I think it's just that you see like a lot of studios and a lot of publishers chasing the same trends all at the same time, and they kind of go in packs and bubbles, which is what's really fascinating, is that you get bundles of games with like god awful Marvel writing, and they all launch within a few years because that was like the trend when they greenlit it back in like 2018, 2019. That was popular and considered to be a good safe bet. By the time all of them are launching, it's not, but it's kind of too late to do anything about it. So it's just one of those holdover effects. But I think you'll see things starting to shift. Like what I think you're seeing right now is these studios are seeing that like Chinese developers, Korean developers, Japanese developers, they are way cheaper. They do great work and their games are really, really performant. So you're just going to see all the money flood over there. So I think in the next like 5 years, the next big thing is going to be Western money trying to chase Eastern devs and Eastern trends. So realistically, in like 5 years, you're probably going to be sick of games like Black Myth Wukong and maybe even like games like Crimson Desert, you know, because you'll start to see a lot of those funded and getting pumped out because that'll be the new thing. And then it'll turn into another something, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. But everything comes in waves, you know, based on what they think is going to be the safe bet. If they think spending 100 million on a Crimson Desert spiritual successor is the safe bet, they'll do that. But it's just kind of up in the air as to whether or not it actually ends up being that, you know. Real quick, I want to say thank you before we even started the stream. Olive on Trees, thank you for the 10. Hey, look, missed ya. Who did you romance in KCD 2? I'm not into men usually, but kind of falling for Hans. Game is so good. The one issue though is the map always being zoomed in on random spots when I opened it. I do kind of remember there being weird stuff with the map randomly being like not cooperating. As for who I romanced, I mean, I love me some Catherine. I've never done the Hans romance, I will confess. Rosa got friend zoned pretty hard at the end of that one. I think those are the main ones. I can't think of how many total there are. I'm not one of those, romance completionist types. I know some people are. I have a friend we play D&D with, and she there's completionists who chase trophies in PlayStation, like PlayStation trophies. She chases romances. So if there's 5 romances in a game, who cares about the other achievements? She will reload and pursue each of those romances. And that's like all she does. But I respect it. That's why she really did not like how Dragon Age Veilguards were. Because Dragon Age Veilguard, if you've never seen, like, I'm gonna show you. In case you haven't seen this. What was his name? The crow guy. Dragon Age Veilguard. What was the crow guy's name? Lucanus? Lucanus. Is that right? Yes, Lucanus. This is BioWare, by the way. BioWare. Yes, lay down. Okay.
I cannot believe we found you.
It's taking too long. We're gonna do sped up.
I'm a little surprised too, honestly.
I thought I'd never see you again.
Dude, it is a graphically really good looking game. It ran so well. It just goes to show you how if you have one weak link in the chain, it can cause the whole thing to snap.
You're here.
Okay.
You're really here.
Okay.
Promise?
I swear.
I swear. Okay. Oh, is it getting steamy? Oh, his wings. Fade to black. Fade to black.
Are you falling asleep?
No, I never sleep.
It's alright if you do. Spite and I can play cards or something.
Don't say that.
It fades to black and then he falls asleep. Like, bro. It's just I would, you know what I would do? Hypothetically in an alternative timeline? I don't think I can actually show this. But is this, maybe can I show you just like a snippet of, no, that one's been taken down. I wanted to show you some of the romance scenes from Baldur's Gate 3, but as you can imagine, they're a little too steamy, and YouTube's not a big fan. Yeah, all of them have that part cut out. Okay. Well, you can use your imagination, but Baldur's Gate 3 is like the polar opposite, where they're just like, feeling a little, you want to see some stuff? Let's do it. Yeah, the Minthara one specifically, I was trying to find. You can't, it's just, I get it. If you've ever seen it, you know why YouTube might not be like, sure. But man, it's something else. It really is something else. It's just crazy. And it's funny because like it really shouldn't, like, this is what always kind of drives me crazy. Like, I don't love the idea that a game can be made or broken on something like crappy romances. And I want to be clear, it's, in this case, it's not. It's just the romances are representative. It's a good showcase of the rest of the game's writing and priorities, and how everything else, weird things were neutered and then other things were like expanded upon that didn't make sense. Like, it just, I think it's representative. It's not that the game is just failing because of that. It's representative of the whole package, But yeah, anyway, how did we, it was, you asked about KCD romances. That's why I was like, how did I even get on this? I don't even know. But yeah, it's, KCD 2's romance is pretty solid. Baldur's Gate's still the best, I think. I think they're goated. And Veilguard has some of the worst. Like, some of the romantic scenes with Lucanus are like, literally you go and like he shares coffee with you. Like, you go and it's like flirtatious coffee sipping. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, is this how you think humans interact? Like, it was almost like, if somebody had been kept in a cave their whole life and thought that's how humans interacted based on Netflix shows they had watched, then they thought that was like steamy. But man, it was wild. It was absolutely wild. Let's see. Hawking Jim, thank you for the membership, my friend. John, thank you for the 10. Just started Lego Batman. Feel like Ra's al Ghul dropped a taken Easter egg in his first line. I'm already loving the game. So beautiful. Yeah, dude, I was actually checking it out, working on a video for it right before we went live. Really solid. Really solid. It's just fun. Like, it's not trying to be crazy serious or anything. It's just fun. I still have to test it on Steam Deck and my weaker gaming laptop and stuff to see how it runs. But if any of you guys have been playing Lego Batman, let me know how it runs on your hardware, because I'm genuinely interested, because those requirements were scaring me. But on my hardware, I mean, it stutters occasionally, but it wasn't that bad. I didn't have a ton of problems. Okay, pull that up. That'll be interesting. We can look at that. We can take a look at that right over there. Let's see. Degrees Below, 17 months. Thank you. Never leave us again, Luke. No one else has the silky bass voice to ease me deep into sleep. Also, I miss the MS Paint stories from Corporate Finance Man. I missed you too, my friend. And like I said, I was expecting to be able to either stream while I'm there or just get back at a reasonable, date. But I just ran into every single possible travel issue. I've never in my life had something like that happen. Like, one of those would have been bad. The fact that it happened every step of the way was what was really, really baffling. It was just bizarre. Marshall, thank you for the 3 months. For those who come after, thank you for 3 months. Thank you for 3 months. Much love. Joaquin, thank you for 39 months. That's insane. Thank you, my friend. Hawking Jim, also thank you for the re-up of your membership. 14 months. Warner Brothers, now that you've joined the gaming Illuminati and kissed the Dorito Pope's pinky ring, what are your opinions on BGS? Also, mixtape was as my opinions on BGS, like Bethesda Game Studios, you mean? Is that what you mean? Because I talk about that a lot. As for mixtape, like I said, I like mixtape. I understand people don't. Everybody, we joke about it. Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one bad take. If you guys don't like Mixtape or you hate Mixtape. That's totally fine. You guys have the right to make fun of me for liking it. I thought it was fun. I liked it. I understand that people don't. I get that, but I'm not gonna like change my opinion of a game because people on Twitter got upset about it. You know, like I would like to think you watch somebody because you want to know what they honestly think about a game, as opposed to like wanting to peer pressure them into agreeing with like the horde or whatever. So, you know, I'm not going to change what I think about it. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really sharp and well executed. It is not a game for everybody. I mean, those types of narrative, I thought that went without saying, but maybe it didn't. But those types of like narrative, like, I guess you could say, I've seen people describe it as like storybook games or like some people say interactive movies and stuff. This had more like mini games than like interactive movie type stuff. But I can understand why people didn't like it. I can totally understand that. But I'm not going to like pretend as though I didn't like it just to like make people on Twitter happy with me, you know. But as with all things, this is the rules of the internet, right? Rules of the internet. If I have a take that you find cringe or you don't like, you get to make fun of me for it. Them's the rules. Okay? Just like if I find out that one of you guys has been playing a bunch of Horizon Hunters Gathering, I'm going to poke fun at you. If I find out that we have like a hardcore Suicide Squad defender in here, we're going to make fun of you, you know? That's how it goes. I don't think Mixtape is going to disappear though. I think I do think that outlets like IGN, GameSpot,
At Nodlock45 donated
thank you.
$19.99 through Super Chat. Going to defend the doom and gloom gamers just a little bit. Things do feel like they have slowed down way too much in game production. We used to get trilogies in 5 years. Now it takes a decade for one game, and I'm
getting old, 32. I'm getting old, 32. Thank you. I'll circle back to that in just a second. But what I was saying is I do think that like IGN, GameSpot, Eurogamer, those places, I think they are way more likely to nominate like Mixtape for Game of the Year than they are to nominate like Crimson Desert. It's unfortunate that I think Crimson Desert is just, for whatever reason, there's just this bizarre like we don't really talk about it in like serious contention. But yeah, I would not be surprised if we get like Game Awards and Mixtape is on, you know, the awards list. I wouldn't think that's a controversial thing to say. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that that's going to be the case. Like, I think best narrative, IGN gave it a 10. I think they're going to try to get it nominated, you know? Does it win? I mean, I can't imagine it beats GTA 6, but you never know. There's a difference between being a contender and a front runner, you know? Like, what was it 2023? I think it was 23, where we had a bunch of like games in the running for Game of the Year, but there were only like one or two serious contenders, you know? It was like Baldur's Gate, you know? Or maybe it was 2022. When did Tears of the Kingdom come out? Was that 22? No, that was 23. Yeah, no, I'm thinking of 2023 because it was Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3 in the same year. And it was like, there's other nominees in there, but it's I mean, it comes down to those two. Let's be totally real. Like, let's be totally honest. As much as you might have loved Starfield, I don't think it was ever going to be Zelda or Baldur's Gate, you know? So I just think, I think this is one of those years where there's going to be contenders, but I don't think that there's a lot of competition when you're looking at like the behemoths that are coming, you know? Hogwarts was good. I didn't think Hogwarts was a good enough game to deserve like Game of the Year nods or nominations. I do think it should have been nominated for like music and stuff like that. The fact that they just like treated it like a leper and didn't talk about it at all was like bizarre, but this is how it is. But going to your comment, I'll continue catching up on these as I get there, guys. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to defend the doom and gloom gamers just a bit. It does feel like things have slowed down. way too much. In game production, we used to get trilogies in 5 years. Now it takes a decade for one game, and I'm getting old. Without a doubt, the production timelines are insane. I've been trying to talk to people and find out like why, like people in the industry that work in the industry as devs, like why is it taking so long? Is it honestly just games are bigger and more complicated, or is it like a process problem? Because there are studios that are not taking forever. Like you can look at studios, a lot of them are Eastern devs and Eastern studios that are putting stuff out way faster. FromSoft, for example, has been super efficient. They've been pumping stuff out quite quickly, honestly. Yes, they've got smaller projects and bigger projects, but they still have a pretty steady pace. Like, what is it that now is taking Naughty Dog, 6-7 years to actually get a game out? What is it that's taking, I guess I was going to say Rockstar, but Rockstar games always take a long time. But even that, I guess technically Red Dead Redemption 2 took what, 5 years? Because it was 2018 and GTA 5 was 2013. So 5 years. And so this is way more than that. So maybe it is that games are just more complicated, but I also think that there is a process differential. And this is where it's been fascinating to talk, like I've mentioned before, to like people that work in the production side, producers in the industry, because they're in charge of tracking productivity and stuff like that. And I've talked to a few people that think a lot of it is tied to like Western and European policies as it pertains to working from home and working remote. They are convinced that that has actually greatly decreased efficiency, quote unquote, because it has eliminated crunch, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because like they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're like, yeah, we started allowing people to work from home and have like a good work-life balance. And now we can't get 80 hours of work out of them for $40 pay or 40 hours pay. It's like, yeah, that would slow things down. I give you that. Like, we can't really exploit our employees. So stuff's taking longer. It's like, yeah, that's how that works. But I think it's probably a mixture of a ton of different things. But without a doubt, like as we've seen it, as crunch culture has been seen as like taboo and unacceptable, especially in the wake of like post-COVID, we've seen productivity plummet, especially in countries and studios where they've tried to eliminate crunch. Whereas countries and studios that do not really seem to care that much about crunch culture, quote unquote, they seem to be pumping stuff out at a pretty hefty pace. Make smaller games, you can, but then you end up with people. You end up with like Spider-Man 2, which still somehow cost $300 million and was like 12 hours long. So you can make smaller games, but I think people also are expecting bigger games because they're paying more. But adjusting for inflation, I get it. But people see that they're paying $70. They expect more than when they paid 60. That's just how it works. This is how it works. You can bring up inflation calculators and stuff. I get it. But when people see that they're spending more dollars today than they did 5 years ago and the game is smaller, they're like upset. Let me see. Let me continue catching up with these. I'm working through it. You guys are being very, very talkative and generous today. Thank you. Let's see. I read that one. Luke, have you gotten a review code for First Light? Blink twice if you're loving the game. I can say at this point, I do not have a review code for First Light. I do not. So I don't know when or if or how or what the timeline looks like with that. Nobody's entitled to review codes. Maybe I don't get a review code. Who knows? But no, as of right now, I do not have 007 First Light. So I know people were like, oh, I bet he keeps blinking. I know a lot of people were wondering if I was playing. I do not have it. I don't know if anyone has it. Maybe people do have it. I don't know. Let's see. Machina, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Luke. Do you think the current Take-Two stock price already has everything priced in? Yes. A lot of trading in the US stock exchanges are what are called algorithmic trades. With like supercomputers doing it. So like you ever wonder why like there's some breaking press statement that comes out from the White House and within 5 seconds oil futures plummet, or you end up with It's a new regulation on big tech. Facebook stocks plummet 10%. Like, you ever wonder how that does that so fast? It's because these big hedge funds and big firms like Fidelity or Schwab, they have supercomputers that scrub all of that 1,000 times a second and then constantly are adjusting. So for something like Take-Two, they've already adjusted and priced in pretty much every factor you could imagine. In addition, they've got parameters. So if it gets delayed, then they're going to do this. And they've got stuff programmed in where, hey, if they confirm it's launching on the 19th, we're going to bid up because we think that makes the stock more valuable now that it's fully confirmed. So we're going to do that. If they launch trailer number 3, that excitement, we're going to trade up a little bit. Things like that. So the only way I think and this is just my opinion, I guess, but the only way I think for a retail investor to really perform well in the market is to buy healthy companies for the long term. Day trading is the stats are brutal for day traders. I think when they analyze day traders over the course of like a 6-month period, over 80% of them lose money. You might get a couple big wins on like random bets, but like 80% of day traders will end up with a lower account balance than when they started after 6 months. Like, are you going to be the 20% that just magically figured it out? Or are you most likely in the 80? You're probably in the 80. Most people are. So I would just say, if you like the direction of Take-Two Interactive as a company, invest. If you don't invest, short them, whatever. But most of these things are already priced in. Yeah. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Buttery Cheeks. I always leave off on Buttery Cheeks. Thank you for the 5. Luke, Marathon has fallen to 10K players daily. Do you think season 2 can save the game and save Bungie from layoffs? No, I think the problem for Marathon is just that we've talked about it before at length, so I won't dwell on it. But Marathon was a game produced with a mass market budget, but a niche appeal design. So like, it's only ever going to have, I think a niche audience unless they can really like knock it out of the park with some totally new mode. Like, I know they're talking about experimenting with PvE stuff, or if they do arenas, like I would consider that. But unless they have some big breakout smash surprise that broadens the appeal, I just think it's always going to have a niche audience. And the problem is, like, you can have a niche live service game that is successful and makes money if you developed it with a niche budget. If you developed it with a tight team, low cost, and you were like smart about it. If you come out swinging with like a $200 million budget on a game that's never going to be on that level, you're not going to make money. Like, it just doesn't matter how good the game is. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can produce the world's best clogs, like those wooden shoes, wood clogs. You can make the world's best clogs. They could be $5,000 clogs because they're made from the tree that Genghis Khan like went and I sung a song to. They could be amazing. The market's just not that big. Like, it's just not that big at the end of the day. Even if they're amazing quality, the market's just not that big. You're never going to sell millions of those things. You're just not. And I think for Marathon, it is a premium clog that's trying to sell itself like it's Crocs. I did kind of say Genghis Khan. I did put a G on the end of it. I caught that too. I was like, that's not right. But I think Marathon is a very high value, fancy clog that's trying to market itself like it's a Croc, and it's just not going to work. Like, it just doesn't work that way. One of my weirder analogies, I grant you that, but there you go. There you go. Genghis Clog. Yes. Let's see. Trafalgar, thank you for the 5. As for, just to go back real quick, Buttery, do I think it'll save Bungie from layoffs? No, I think it's clear Bungie was way too big when they bought it. Bungie has already undergone crazy layoffs. I think don't quote me on this. I think what they said was when they were bought by PlayStation, they were like 1,800 people. They splintered off one team, spun off another team, laid off a bunch of people, restructured a bunch of stuff. So it went through a bunch of changes. But now it's like somewhere between 600 and 800 people, I think. That still probably is too big. Like, I think they probably lay off a little bit more, restructure a little bit more, because Destiny 2 is not making that kind of money. Marathon's not making that kind of money to sustain that big of a studio. So they'll probably rework it a little, or Sony's just going to double down and have them start working on Destiny 3 and do it that way. But that also gets them in a weird spot where I think that most of their staff right now is just maintaining what they have. It's not like they have another 500 people that can go work on Destiny 2 or Destiny 3 rather. So I don't know what their game plan is, but Sony is insistent in their earnings calls and stuff that they're not walking away from it. So we'll see. It's bizarre though. It's bizarre. Let's see. Travolgar, thank you for the 5. How's the PC performance on the Go Batman picking up the deluxe after work, if you know? On high-end hardware, it seems to be solid. There is some hitching in the open world areas, but specifically it seems to be in cutscenes when transitioning into the open world. From what I've seen, it is heavy as well. Like on a 5090 at 4K without frame generation stuff turned on, it's like in the high 60s. So she heavy, she girthy, okay? Call her Roberta because she heavy. It looks good, but it's heavy. I have not yet tested it on my lower end hardware stuff. I've not. Also, look at this. Do you see this? I wanted to call this out. My brother Ben, I gave my 1070 years ago. The 1070 that you see right at the fingertip, that was like the first big investment I made in like gaming content, hardware, whatever. I bought a 1070 and it was like the biggest, coolest, craziest thing I had ever done. And now it's at the end of support. It's at the end of its life. They're not doing, I think, new drivers for it anymore. So he was like, there's not much use for it anymore. So he 3D printed a little stand. And it says how it started. It's just the little white bit at the bottom. It says how it started. And it puts the little GPU on a stand. It's really, really cool. So yeah, Ben the GOAT. Yeah, thank you, Ben. It was like such a, he gave it to me. I was like, that is legitimately where it started. Like, that's where it started. All those Fallout 76 videos bashing it, that baby right there made that possible. Right there. Where did I leave off? Samuel, thank you for the 23 months. I got spoiled with Baldur's Gate 3 romances. Oh man, they're so crazy good. Yeah, they literally, I mean, we joke about it that like this studio makes it look like this studio isn't even trying. They literally made it look like the other studios weren't even trying with their romances. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. How much is that PC today? Oh, the 1071? I mean, most of it is not, like, it's not supported anymore. So like, I don't think the 1070 gets driver updates anymore. I don't think you can, like, I think the other stuff I had in there, the CPU and the motherboard and everything. Do you guys remember years ago, I had a computer that started smoking? Do you remember that? I turned it on one day and it puffed up with like smoke. No, well, that happened. It also fried a bunch of like hard drives I had in there. It was a problem. It was a whole thing. But when that happened, as if I recall correctly, that was that motherboard and CPU from that PC. So that's also not good. That's wild. Yeah, I think what it was, Ben, actually, because he works in IT, he helped me try to figure out what it was, because he took that and tried to like decipher what it was kind of as like a project to figure out what went wrong. And it looks like it was some issue, like it was a literally 1 in a million defect. I think it was with an M.2 SSD that shorted out something on the motherboard that then shorted out one of the fan headers. Like, it was legitimately a 1 in a million problem. Very, very, very rare, but thankfully I was here and it happened when I pressed the power button. I saw the smoke, smelled it. I was like, oh no. I unplugged it, shut it off. Like, I can only imagine if that had happened when I wasn't home, or if the computer was running and I was doing something else. Like, it could have like actually started a house fire, but yeah, thankfully we caught it. Thankfully. Thankfully. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. Tell you what. Yeah. A lot worse. I don't recommend the smell of burning plastic and shorted out SSDs. Not exactly a candle-worthy scent. Leo, thank you for the 10. Luke, I'm looking for a PC for next gen. I would like to get a pre-built PC to start with. What sites would you recommend buying from? YouTube channels to watch? What brands do I go for? Do I go for with an ultra-wide monitor? Ultra-wide monitors are fantastic. Love them dearly. Support is kind of hit or miss. Honestly, there's some apps you can get to kind of brute force support. So just be aware of that. If you're also looking to do content creation or streaming and stuff, ultra-wide monitors can often lead to headaches. So just be aware of that. As for other things with like sites, look in chat for recommendations if anybody has a recommendation that they like. As for like places to watch, Gamers Nexus is probably, I think, the best. But there's a bunch of really high quality studios out there, or channels out there that are fantastic and do great work. Go OLED. Yeah, if you have the option between like ultra wide OLED or like LCD, go OLED. Even if it's not ultra wide, go OLED. It'll be way better. Way better. I encourage you to join the PC Master Race. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Victor Riot, thank you for the 2 months. How we doing? Doing good. I am recovering from the trip. I think my whole family is starting to get sick. You can kind of, I got the sniffles. So I'm worried about that because I just cannot get sick right now. I just cannot. But we'll see. Ooh, I got to finish recording my Black Flag resynced video. I think after stream today, because I'm worried tomorrow I won't have a voice, which is not going to be good. What do you think is going on at Rockstar Games, says G. Bujar. They're completely silent. Community is going crazy. Do you think the game will get delayed? No, I don't think it'll be delayed. I think it's more that if the leaks were true, so the Best Buy leaks, if they were true, you know, as you can see, this guy claims to work within Best Buy distribution networks. I don't want to disappoint anyone, but internal company email suggests that Best Buy has got it wrong and no pre-orders will be launching today. This would have been Monday, yesterday. Things might change at the last minute, but I'd advise keeping your expectations in Basically, it just seems like, high-ranking position within European distribution company. Confirmed there's no pre-orders, and as evidence, they sent me a corporate email with said discussion about there being no pre-order scheduled and how Best Buy made a mistake. So apparently somebody made a mistake. It could be a mistake. It could be like, honestly, if Rockstar saw this email go out and the plan was for it to be on Monday, I wouldn't be surprised if Rockstar was like, never mind. Like, we're not going to be pushed into dropping it when we don't want to. Like, I think short of the trailer legitimately leaking early, I don't think there's any way that you could force Rockstar to do anything. So they're going to do what they want to do. And as we've said for months, if they wanted to not show a damn thing until November, they could wait until November and we would all still go and buy it and it would be fine. You know, it would still do 20 million copies day one. They can do whatever they want. And, you know, I think it's also they're eating up the hype. Like, the hype is honestly probably just as good for them as if they were doing a big marketing campaign. I think like the ravenous hunger for information that they've developed so far is just as valuable as if they were doing like developer deep dives. Let's do a series of interviews with developers discussing the design philosophy of GTA 6. I don't think they need to do any of that. You know, some studios that can help, certainly, like 007. I think that makes sense. Help people understand how the game was made. With Rockstar, with GTA, they can just do whatever they want. You know? Does it even need a marketing campaign? No. Like, it legitimately doesn't. It's like a bizarre case where it's the biggest thing ever, and it's the biggest thing ever while also not needing any help or assistance whatsoever. Like, it really is crazy. Hype is the best marketing. I mean, it's the same thing that Todd has talked about, where like Todd's done those interviews where he says, I forget if he said it's good or it's okay. I think he said it's okay for people to miss things. which sounds like just, just like a truism, at first glance. But I think that's a significant thing to just appreciate because it explains why they do the things the way that they do it. Part of like BGS's philosophy, and I think Rockstar's philosophy, is that if they take something that you want and they make you wait 13, 15, whatever years for it, you're going to be ravenous. And that is a ton of free press. That's a ton of free marketing. You get channels dedicated to that game before it even launches that are just doing like speculation hype videos. You don't have to try. Do you have any idea how many games and studios would kill for a channel dedicated to their game before it launches? All the free marketing that comes from that. Like, you see those channels and all they do is like Helldivers content. All they do is Destiny 2 content. All they do is Overwatch guides and stuff, strat guides and stuff, or Diablo build guides or Path of Exile build guides. Like, that is worth way more to those companies than a really good series of trailers. They don't have to pay for it, except maybe they'll send them a goodie bag, every once in a while, or maybe they'll invite them to like BlizzCon or whatever, but that's worth so much to them. And with Rockstar, Bethesda, like they can just do whatever they want and they don't have to really try that hard. They've made it. They've made it. So I don't think they have to try really. So what's going on with Rockstar? Exactly what they want. Exactly what they want and nothing more. That's the key. Nothing more. Because they are one of these studios where there is nobody that can push them or make them do really anything. Like they can do whatever they want. It's crazy. But even like Take-Two, it seems like Take-Two Interactive is not actually trying to push them in any direction. It looks like Strauss Zelnick in all of his interviews, he's like, my job is to get the best people, to give them the budgets they need and get out of their way. It really, like the term blank check is thrown around a lot. It looks like literally they have an actual blank check. Like they can just do whatever they want. And if they take 10 years to do it, they take 10 years to do it. Who cares? Like they can just do whatever they want. Radx Ruby, thank you for the 2, my friend. Kyle, thank you for the 5. Cyberpunk 2077 Pan Am Next RPG Romance FTW. I love my Queen of the Highway. Yes, my wife is cool with it. Queen of the Highway. I don't think I've ever heard somebody describe Pan Am as Queen of the Highway. Like, unironically, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. Cyberpunk, I did forget. Cyberpunk does have really good romances, but I still think Baldur's Gate takes it. I still think Baldur's Gate has better romances, personally. Just my opinion. Archer, thank you for that. Hey, Luke, a month ago I asked you about some relationship advice. Yeah, I ended up breaking up with my girlfriend. It sucked, but you were right. Thank you. Much love, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Stuff like that is never, ever easy, but life is all about taking steps forward, and at times people will walk alongside you and then they'll go their separate way. Sometimes they reconnect, sometimes they go off and explore their own journey and you find somebody else that joins you for the rest of your walk or for part of your walk. That's just how it goes. But I hope you're doing well, my friend. Hopefully you're playing some good games that make it a little easier, but I'm glad to hear that you are are doing okay. Hype Not IQ, thank you for the 5. Luke, did you see the APX Swatch collaboration and the people went crazy over the launch of it? Pepper spray galore. APX Swatch. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what any of that means. What does that mean? Oh. Yeah. I did see this. This popped up. I'm gonna be real. I don't get it, man. Like these like, I don't even know what you call it. Bioceramic? Okay. I don't know, man. It's not my thing. No full judgment. I think they look kind of goofy, so I guess I am judging, but it's just my opinion. I like fancy watches. I like, I like this stuff. But yeah, those are not doing it for me. those ain't doing it for me. I'm gonna be honest. I'm more of like a classy watch guy. I see like the Richard Mille ones. If you've ever seen those watches, I've mentioned these before. Yeah, these things that look kind of like I think they look like dollar store watches. Okay, I think they look like something you see somebody get out of like a Walmart claw machine. These watches are like $500,000. Okay. Like they are stupid expensive, or $250,000, I think usually $500,000 for maybe some of the really exclusive stuff. But these things are stupid expensive. I don't personally get it. I like nice watches, but bro, I don't see it. I don't know, man. I don't get it. I saw XQC has one. XQC. He's got this like smiley face one. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. He's got a second one. I don't know, man. I don't get that. I don't get those. I like the really fancy, like something that's classy. Cartier has really good watches. Omega's got good watches. Rolex has some good watches. I don't get the really like gaudy, what do they call it? Iced up. People say they get their watches iced up. They just get them encrusted in diamonds. I don't get that. That's not my thing. But I have never in my life seen more Richard Mille watches than when I went to Disney World. Disney World probably had the highest density of multi-millionaires that I've ever seen in my life. Like I've never in my life seen that many freakishly expensive watches casually worn out and about. But I think it's a perfect reflection of what Disney World has kind of become, because it's basically become a hub of hyper wealth. If you don't have money or debt, I guess you could say that too. But yeah, never in my life have I seen so many where you're just like, that's one, and then you walk 5 more minutes, that's another one. Like, what is happening? What is happening? It was crazy. Let's see. Where did I leave? Tall guy, thank you for the 15. Appreciate you, my friend. Can we have a real open talk about the weirdly inflated reviews around Mixtape? It's a 3-hour visual novel filled with theater kid millennial cringe. It sucks to see it shoehorned into the greats. Well, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that you seemingly, I call this a hunch, did not like it. It seems I'm connecting these dots. But I think that with something like Mixtape, it's one of those just highly polarizing games. And there's games like this where some people love it. It truly is like you love it or hate it. Crimson Desert's another kind of example where some people just did not understand what people liked about it. Like they just cannot get into it. And so they hate it. And then they see other people being like, it's generational. This is a game that will redefine what open world games can do. And they just do not understand how somebody could think that way or feel that way. For Mixtape, it is a game that is, I think visual novel. I've heard that. Interactive movie. I've heard people describe it like that. It is not for everybody, but if it's for you, you end up loving it. Loving it. I really liked it. I understand why some people would not, but I liked it. But it's definitely one of those games where if it's not for you, if you're not this very particular niche that likes what it is, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it. There's not a lot of wiggle room. It's just that's how it is. I don't think it's anything like untoward or anything like that. It's just the people that like it really, really like it. And the people that don't really, really don't. But anyway, septum piercing niche. Okay, that's funny. That's pretty funny. Dude, imagine if just in a review, totally straight. And I think that this game is going to be really popular among some. Those who like visual storytelling, those who like tighter narratives. If you have a septum piercing, if you like music from the 80s, like you just slide it in there. That's good. That's good. I'll give you that one. Like I said, as with all of these things, my rule of thumb is like everybody gets to have, one bad take. They get to have one bad take at a reasonable pace. That's fine. I have friends that love Dragon Age Veilguard. I don't get it. I'll poke fun at them though. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just is kind of funny. You know, I like a lot of games that people also don't like. You know, I've been a defender of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, not as an Assassin's Creed game, but as an open world like fantasy adventure game for years since it launched. I've always been on that game's side because I think it's really, really good as a fantasy adventure game. But you know, if you hate Odyssey, you get to make fun of me for that. Them's the rules, you know. Them's the rules. So here's this mixtape. Yeah, if you hate mixtape and you're like, Luke, L take, cringe, you get to make fun. That's how it works, man. Todd Howard, Sean, how dare you? Todd came in, gifted 5 memberships. Dude, that's so funny. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd. Todd came in, his generosity overfloweth. We gotta light the candle now. Todd giveth and Todd taketh, but mainly he giveth, for he is generous. I'm glad to see the Creation Club money is being spent well. I'm glad to see it's coming back into the fold. It's good to see. All hail, praise be. Yeah. Dude, somebody was saying, they're like, I miss the Starfield videos. I was like, you have to let it breathe. Okay, we made like 15 in a 2-month period. We got to give it a break, man. We will get back to Todd when Todd comes out and has something to share. But you know, we got to have stuff to talk about. I think Starfield 2.0, I wonder how that's actually doing. Dude, now when I type in SteamDB, you know what game? Real quick, in chat, guess. What game do you think my browser autofills to when I search SteamDB? What do you think? What's your sneaking suspicion? Put them in chat. Put them in chat. While you do that, give us more KCD2 videos. Dude, I want to go to KCD FanFest again. If I can do that this year, I will. And we'll like do a sorted vlog about it. Maybe we'll stream like, I think that could be really, really cool. Marathon, Concord, Marathon, Crimson Desert. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Highguard's a good one. Dude, can you imagine? Like in an alternative universe, if Jeff's prediction were true, Highguard would be like the definitive live service game right now. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like what a different world that would have been. No, the game that defaults in my browser. Concord. It's true.
Welcome to Highguard.
Welcome to Highguard. Yeah, man, that's what a classic. What was I going to look up? I already forgot. What was I going to look up? Starfield. I wanted to see if Starfield 2.0 helped. Oh, the reviews aren't doing great. So you can see the big update did see a spike. Okay, they got up to 30K. They did beat their all-time peak from the first expansion, but now it's back down to pretty close to what it was. I mean, a little higher, I guess. A bit higher. Yeah, they got another couple thousand. It is the best version of Starfield that it's ever been. It is the best Starfield has ever been. Still not saying a whole lot, but got to give it to him. Check Forza. Yeah, dude, Forza. I just downloaded it. I'm excited to try it. Yeah, Forza. And this is on Steam, by the way. It is on Game Pass. So this is on Steam. Imagine what like Game Pass numbers combined are like. It's got to be insane. Like, never doubt the power of Forza. It's crazy. Or as Americans tend to say it, Forza. Forza. I don't know why my tendency is to say that, but I always want to say Forza. I have to like, Forza. Or you just say it fast enough that nobody notices. Yeah, I love Forza. Which did he say? I don't know. No one says that. Good. He didn't hear me, guys. He didn't hear me. He didn't catch me. We're good. Dodge that bullet. Speaking of Todd, real quick, if you guys want a job, he's hiring. Todd's hiring. I asked you guys on our member and sub-only Discord if I should apply for one of these jobs, and you guys encouraged me. So I might be leaving YouTube forever quite soon if I get a call back. But yes, they are hiring multiple different roles within BGS. Okay. As you can see, some of these are for ZeniMax Media, but BGS specifically is hiring a ton. And what is this role? Release manager. They're hiring a release manager? What? And a PR director. This is one I thought I could apply for. Can you even imagine? Can you even imagine the meltdown that would happen on Reddit if they saw that they had hired Luke as PR manager for BGS? It would be so freaking funny. All of the interviews with Todd are by candlelight. Occasionally, when Todd's out of office, we'll just put cardboard cutouts of him. I think it would be so funny. It would be so funny. Lean into the memes, but no. They can't afford me. Oh, it would be so funny though. It would be so funny. Also, who wants to feel old? Show of hands. Who wants to feel old? I'm about to make you feel really old. Okay, you ready? You ready? Today is March 19th, 2026. Do you know what that means? It is the 11th anniversary. 11th anniversary of The Witcher 3. It has been 11 years. Did I say March? I meant May. Whatever I said, don't listen to me. May 19th. It has been 11 years to the day since The Witcher 3 launched. It's August, dude. Wind's howling. Dude, it makes me feel really old, but it makes me wonder, like, what does the game look like to people who never experienced it? You know, because I still look at this, I'm like, it's still gorgeous, still looks as good as ever. I'd love to get back in there. But I do wonder, like, if you've never played The Witcher 3, does it show its age? Like, does it look like a 2015 game? I feel like it's aged really, really well, but I am biased. I'll give you that. Speaking of other birthdays, just as notable, I think I mentioned this last week too, but I'm going to show it to you again. Haven had their 5th anniversary. And if you're wondering, what is Haven? What is this studio? What are they known for? This is the studio working on Fair Game $, doing a puppy corral. I didn't realize this was a thing. Please correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in chat, because maybe I'm out of the loop. Maybe I'm being unreasonable. I've never heard of doing a puppy corral in a place of work. Apparently this is like a thing. I didn't know that. Okay. LA moment. That's funny. Or Montreal moment. But I didn't know this was a thing. But I showed this to a buddy of mine who lives in Europe, and he's like, no, yeah, I've seen that. They'll do this. Release workplace stress. When you have like a scandal at the office, they will bring in these corrals and puppies, and then you play with the puppies. Mental Wellness Puppy Day. Yeah, I didn't realize this was a thing. But apparently it is. So, I mean, no shade. I respect it, honestly. And I do see how it could totally work. If you've had a rough day, you launch a trailer, it doesn't go over well. Cuddling a puppy will make it better. Like, without a doubt. I had never seen that. I'd never seen that. It's a white collar thing. Yeah, I can't imagine this happening in an oil field, to be clear. I think that's fair. Imagine, like, out in the fields. Hey, everybody, stop harvesting the spinach crop or whatever. Come on in. We got our puppy corral. Like, I agree. I wouldn't see this happening there, but still seems fun. So yeah, who knows when this is actually coming. Poutine, dude. I've traveled the world. I've seen a lot of things. And yet the best food I've ever had while traveling was in Montreal. The poutine, dude. Oh, if you've never had poutine. I got to be careful Googling this because it's also slang for something else. It is French fries topped with fresh cheese curds and smothered in hot brown gravy. They'll also like cut up little slices of sausage or roasted chicken and stuff on it. Oh my God. I have never in my life had something so delicious. Like, honestly, it'll change your life. It'll change your life. Like, it was so good. I like took a picture of the restaurant we were at so that I could come back at some point in the future and share the experience with people. It was remarkable. Remarkable. So freaking good, dude. So good. Like, food in Singapore, pretty good. Pretty good. Food in what's another place? Finland, pretty fishy. Copenhagen, weird thing about Copenhagen, like 65% of all of the restaurants were burger places. I don't know why. Never had good poutine. Dude, when you do, it'll change your life. It'll change your life. Italy, I've never been to Italy. I have a feeling if I went to Italy, that might give me a real run for my money. Yeah, because I've heard Italy's food is unbelievable, but we'll see. We'll see. I did have phenomenal curry actually in Singapore. They had very good curry. I'll give them that. Fishy, like suspicious? No, literally fishy. Like Finland is all about fish. You go to a bakery and you order a donut. They got like a little bitty fish on top, like a sardine. It's just how they roll there. That's how they roll. Let's see. Oop, I scrolled too far. Whoops. Where did I? Let's see. Over on Twitch, Foster, thank you for the sub, my friend, and also, ooh, Batman. Ooh, Batman. Thank you. We got a masseur in our office once every 2 weeks for a while. We never did the puppy crawl thing, but dude, having a masseuse in the office, dude, that's so cool. That'd be so great. Poutine is French, right? I think it's specifically French Canadian, but somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's specifically French Canadian though. I think. Let's see. Benny, thank you for the 5. The real issue isn't that you liked it. I'm assuming you're still talking about mixtape because this was in the same chunk of the conversation. But your post on X was worded like a paid ad, but wasn't tagged as such. Well, just to give you a little background, well, for one, not a paid ad, just wasn't. If I do any sort of sponsored post, it has to be disclosed, or like the FTC comes for me and for the company that sponsored it. Like, you can't do that. So if you're sponsored, you have to disclose it, or the full weight of like the government regulators comes down on you. So however much they would hypothetically pay you, like, it's not worth it for what would happen if the FTC were to come for you. So I apologize if my tweet was worded in an overly positive way. But no, it's you don't mess around with FTC disclosures. Like, you just don't. It's not something you want to mess with, no matter who you are. And to be fair, in my career, I've never had a company ask for like a post and ask for it to not be disclosed. I've never seen that. Because if that were to happen, for one, we would say no. But two, if that got to the FTC, like, they put, like, we're not talking little fines, like hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines or millions of dollars in fines to the company. So like, you just don't do that. You don't mess with the regulators. It's just not worth whatever the hassle. Hypothetically, you're like, oh, we'll pay you $1,000 for a tweet or something. I guarantee you the FTC coming at you would be much more than that. Like they will ruin your life. So no, they did not do anything like that. Star Citizen H-Bomb says, with 12-month re-up, thank you for a year. Star Citizen released a new pricing for a new ship not released, and it's $5,000 and requires an essay. Meanwhile, new patch broke everything, and Squadron 42 is going to be delayed. No way. Did they actually say Squadron 42 is going to be delayed? Or is it just like there's no update? Looks like nothing official. Nothing official. But yeah, it's supposed to launch this year and there's just been nothing. Dude, I Googled Squadron 42 delayed. Article from 2020. Squadron 42 delayed again. It was originally slated for a 2016 release. They're a decade late, my friends. A decade late. That's impressive. If you feel like, just imagine, okay. GTA fans feel like they've got it bad. Bro, just imagine Star Citizen fans. Like, that's crazy. Robert said that it was likely though. Oh, so even Chris is like, it's probably getting delayed. I'm not really that surprised, honestly, unfortunately, but that's just how they roll, apparently. Jackson, thank you for the 10. Hey, have you heard of any fixes for Crimson Desert on PS5 for the nighttime graphics? The sky is super bright at night and the lantern is terrible in dark rooms or caves. I've tried everything online. The only thing I could think of is that it might be a gamma issue tied to your TV calibration or monitor calibration. Because sometimes if you're describing like hyper low darks and way too bright brights, contrast on your display might be turned up too high. So there's something like that. You can try turning on something like filmmaker mode if your display supports it. That will just remove like any sort of color alteration stuff from the signal. It'll look way flatter, but that's the point. So you can try stuff like that. I'd mess with your monitor if in-game stuff isn't working, but no, I've not heard anything specifically about that. 53 nights, thank you for the 13 months. Call my own foul. I don't work a full 8 hours when I work from home. Caught him. Caught red-handed. I'm gonna tell on you. Got you. Wallet, thank you for that one. Gaming has now become more mainstream and Western game companies now have to actually enforce workers' rights. Eastern devs don't give a damn. Crunch is regular work culture for them. I think it is mainstream, but there also was a belief among large swaths of the industry, because like, to be clear, the multi-millionaire, billionaire like executives, they don't really care about workers' rights. I know that's going to be like controversial, but like, I don't think Bobby Kotick at Activision, when he was the head, I don't think he really cared about workers' rights. Call it a suspicion. Okay. I think as they removed, like these big companies tried to remove crunch, it was done, number one, for PR reasons, because investors might be more likely to throw money at them if they feel like the workplace culture is positive. And the reason investors were more likely to throw money at a company with good workplace culture is because there was this belief and idea that, that like workplaces that don't have crunch would produce games that are markedly and tangibly better and that would therefore perform better than games that were crunched. Like the idea was that if you crunch too much, the game's quality would plummet. It seems like the work is the work, the game is the game, and it doesn't actually seemingly change like a ton in the final product. Some of the best games ever made were allegedly crunched pretty damn hard. I mean, everything Naughty Dog has ever put out was apparently crunched like to hell and back, and their quality is pristine, you know? So it's been a reality of the industry for a long time. And I think that premise, which was that you get rid of crunch, the games will be better, that seems to have not borne out. So I would not be surprised if you start to see like some of these big companies pushing for, they won't call it crunch. They'll be like, we just really would like people to give 110%. Stuff like that. I think it's stuff like that. They'll just start to be like, yeah, the deadline is a month from now. So, it takes 2 months to work. So you're an advocate of crunch? No, to be clear, to be very clear, if I was the God King of gaming, wrong button. If I was the God King of gaming, I would wave my magical Sharpie wand and crunch goes away. Everybody makes a very healthy living salary. Everybody has paternity and maternity leave. Like, I would grant all these things. Healthcare, your job is secure so you don't randomly get laid off even after putting out a good game like Tango Gameworks did. If I was the God King of gaming, that would be my spell I would cast. Unfortunately, I'm not the God King of gaming. So it's up to like the sociopathic executives to decide what happens. And what I'm saying is that they don't really give a damn about any of this. So what I think they are going to do is X, Y, and Z. What I think they are going to do is push for like really milking all of the employees dry as much as they can, because that used to work. And if they can get 80 hours out of somebody while paying them for 40, that means the game can get out twice as fast. Or you say maybe the quality of the work drops off a little bit towards the end, like after 60 to 80 hours, the quality drops off, so you're not as efficient as you're crunching longer and longer. Even then, if it gets the project done 70% faster, maybe not twice as fast, but significantly faster, that's still worth it for them. So I think I'm not saying this is not how I would run things. It's not. I'm not happy about this, but I think that those executives are going to do it. Yeah. And I think a lot of gamers are going to look the other way because they'll be getting their games faster. And so they'll be like, I don't have to wait 6 years between games. I can get them every 3 years now. I don't like crunch, but I think that's probably what happens. And I'm not happy about that. Again, if I was God King of gaming, I wouldn't do it that way, but that's just unfortunately the reality of the industry, I think. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, let's touch on this one from Vietnamese, and then I want to talk about this story real quick before I run out of time. What about Arc Raiders adding de novo from all things to fight cheaters? Also, did you see the content schedule change? Praise the only, the one, Todd. Yeah, Arc Raiders is adding de novo. It sounds worse than it is. They are adding de novo, but apparently, I didn't realize this until I read the story. There are two different versions. So de novo has like two branches. They have the like lock it down, you can't steal our game, always online, constantly checking and doing stuff to try and prevent pirating. They have that side of the app and the software, and then they have another branch that is specifically an anti-cheat that is kind of strewn off of it because it also is doing constant checks with servers and doing constant background checks on what programs are running in the background, but it's specifically to try and provide anti-cheat. So my understanding is that what they've added is the de novo anti-cheat system, not the de novo anti-piracy thing, but they could be one and the same. Of course, de novo has an incentive to frame it this way as opposed to the other one. But yeah, I mean, it's been a problem for a while. Like Arc Raiders cheating has been a problem for a good long while. And it seems like they're trying to fix it. It's just, they can't seemingly figure it out because it's still a problem. But we'll see if it actually makes a difference. I just, who knows? Who knows? It's just they need more content. They got to deal with cheaters and hackers, which have gotten pretty bad. And we'll see if they can do that. I think they'll get a few more waves of players. They'll figure it out. This is just how live service games work. It comes in waves. They have a big update, a bunch of players flood back in, then they come back out, and then a bunch of players flood back in with a new update, then they go back out. It's just how it works. But hopefully they can figure out how to deal with the cheaters. That's my hope, because it's pretty bad. I don't know. I don't know if other games are there other big name live service games that do de novo anti-cheat. I know Easy Anti-Cheat is a big one, but I don't know. Valorant has their own. I don't think I've ever heard of de novo anti-cheat though, but maybe it is common and I just don't know about it. Okay, real quick to touch on this. Okay. New mini segment thing. So breaking news confirming a piece of news that was reported on like a couple of months ago, but it looks like it actually is confirmed and real at this point. Back in March, there's a story from Jason Schreier where he reported on Bloomberg that Sony was working on pulling back. This is how it was phrased, pulling back from games on PC. This was part of a broader discussion where they were re-strategizing, trying to figure out what made sense as we head into the next generation. Because for this whole generation, the PS5 era, everything has been built around the idea that you bring your game after it launches on PS5, you bring it to PC, and if you bring Ghost of Tsushima to PC, that will get PC gamers excited for Ghost of Yotei, and maybe they will then buy a PS5 to play Ghost of Yotei. What turns out to have happened seemingly is that PC gamers just waited for the PC port. They didn't buy PlayStation hardware. And furthermore, it seems like the data is starting to suggest that PlayStation gamers were actually leaving the fold and moving over to PC instead of the other way around. So in a way, it seems like it sort of backfired. Like their idea was, we're going to do this strategy, bring our games to PC, and that will bring PC gamers over to PlayStation. It looks like it did the opposite, and it just started pulling PlayStation gamers away from the console, more towards the open platform of PC. Because, shocker, PlayStation gamers really like the idea of not having to pay for online, of having access to a huge swath of hardware options, and then also options when it comes to storefronts and pricing and sales and all this stuff. It's a pretty compelling offering. And at the end of the day, if you have a totally free market, everything is totally open, and you can truly choose where you go because there's no exclusives anymore, players will tend to go towards the platform that's more open and more like cost friendly. You will still see people playing on PlayStation or Xbox because they like the all-in-one experience. They like the console experience, which is very valid. I know some PC gamers diminish the console experience. It is legitimately really nice to not have to worry about driver updates, to not have to worry about this or that, to just buy the game and play it. Like that is a real benefit, especially if you're a couch gamer as opposed to like a desk gamer, you know? But again, it seems like there was some broader strategy at PlayStation that they were experimenting with that they decided to reevaluate. And it was just confirmed by Jason Schreier yesterday that, as you can see, Scoop, Wario clipped it because this was posted on Blue Sky. PlayStation Studio Business CEO Herman Holst, that guy, he told staff in a town hall on Monday morning that the company's narrative single-player games will now be PlayStation exclusive, confirming Bloomberg's reporting from earlier this year. Single player, to be clear. Multiplayer will still come, so Fair Games will come to PC, it seems. You're not missing out on that. You will get access to it on PC, but like Ghost of Yotei looks like there's no PC port coming. It looks like Intergalactic not coming to PC. Anything that is single player is going to stay on PlayStation, and they're going to reframe it as exclusive. And I think that it's fascinating because the whole PS5 era, I think, was built on experimentation from PlayStation, both with live service and then cross-platform delivery. And the idea was, again, that they would broaden the tent and that it would pull people from PC over to their console. And it doesn't seem like that really is borne out in the data. And this, like, do you remember back with Helldivers 2? There was the story that went crazy where PlayStation was demanding that you had to go and play Helldivers. You had to connect your PlayStation Network account to Steam. Do you remember that whole thing? And it seemed at the time like such a bizarre hill to die on. Why do they care? Why do they care so much that you connect your PlayStation ID to your Steam account? Why does that matter? Turns out, it seems pretty clear. What they were trying to track was that if you had a PlayStation account already and you were buying Helldivers 2 on PC while owning a PlayStation, they could see that. You connect your account, they see you have a PlayStation 5 on your account, and they see that you're playing it on PC. So you could have bought it on PlayStation, but instead you bought it on PC. They can then track and see, Okay, well, on their Steam account, they did buy God of War, but they didn't buy it on PlayStation. Oh, they did buy Ghost of Tsushima on PC, but they're not buying Ghost of Yotei on PlayStation. They're seemingly waiting for it to come to PC. They can start to track all of that data, and it seems pretty self-evident at this point that the data was not to their liking. That what they were seeing was that player behaviors were moving away from their closed platform more towards the open one, as opposed to staying where it needed to be within their closed system, you know. So I think all of this was, you know, a grand experiment. And the thing is, when you are at the top, when you are alone playing King of the Hill on the mountain, you can take a minute to dilly-dally. You can twiddle your thumbs a little bit because there's no threat to you. And let's be perfectly honest, there's not really been a threat for PlayStation this whole console generation. There just hasn't been. I know it's like some Xbox fans might find that upsetting, but like, let's be totally honest, they've not exactly given them a run for their money. They just haven't. Real quick.
At Slackosaurus Rex donated $20 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey Luke, great to see you back. Hope you had fun. Any chance you plan to cover the Square Enix earnings report? It seems to indicate that FF7 Remake Part 3 is pushed till sometime next year. Not
to mention Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff has been fascinating because I think it's taken way longer and it's not performed quite the way they wanted it to. So I'm interested to see what they choose to do next time, but I'll look it up and I'll see if there's enough for us to dig into. I'm not really surprised Remake is getting, you know, pushed to next year because, or sliding to next year, because like it would realistically be launching right next to GTA 6. So, you know, what's the point? So that doesn't really surprise me. And then Kingdom Hearts, who knows if like where the hell that is? Because that's, when was the last one? Like what, 2019, 2020, something like that. I mean, it's been a minute. So yeah, we'll see what happens with them, but they're trying to figure it out. Let's see. Thank you for the 20, my friend. That's very, very generous. I appreciate you. But circling back to this, just to wrap this up, all of this to say, I think it's just clear that PlayStation was comfortable and they thought they could experiment because there was no immediate imminent threat. And they were right to a certain regard. They could spend $5 billion on live service crap that went nowhere. And I mean, any other generation, they probably would have been in trouble. They could have lost some footing, but instead, because there's just no real competition from Xbox, they could get away with it. But I think that they are starting to feel the pressure going into next generation that they can't operate the same way they have. Because let's be totally honest, we just had this happen earlier in stream. Do I see? I want to see who it was. Yeah, look at this. Leo in chat just earlier in the stream said, Luke, I'm looking to a PC for next gen. I think what Leo is doing is what mortifies PlayStation. That you've been maybe a console gamer for years, and now you're looking at next generation, you're considering your options. PC, even though, yes, all hardware is expensive, PC makes a lot more sense than like a $900 PS5 Pro. I think for a lot of people, especially if you're thinking long-term upgradability, stuff like that, makes a lot of sense. Not having to pay every month for online access for your games, like for your multiplayer games, that starts to be really compelling. You know? And I think that that's what was really starting to scare PlayStation, is that every time there's a new generation that kickstarts, that's when players make their move. If they're going to make a move. Some players might splinter off and move to one platform or another in the middle of a generation, but I think that's a very small number. Most players, when they choose at the beginning of a generation which way they go, that's what sets it. That's why like the South Park episode where they're choosing, you know, they do the Game of Thrones parody where they're choosing whether to go Xbox or PS4. That's basically what it is. If players choose to go to PC, they're not coming back to PlayStation later in the generation. They just spent $1,000, $2,000 on a PC. They're not going to go drop another $1,000 on a PS6. They're not doing that. They already committed, you know? And with PlayStation, if they're already seeing towards the end of this generation, they're already seeing players starting to move that direction. and they hypothetically know that the next console is going to be $1,000 or even $800. Expensive. We just say expensive. Do they really want to poke that bear and like risk losing market share with all of these PlayStation players that are like, I'll just go to PC. You're bringing my games anyway. You're bringing Ghost of Yotei to PC anyways. Oh, I was interested in Intergalactic or the next Uncharted or Santa Monica game, but you're going to bring it to PC anyways. I'll just wait a year. Once players have that conclusion, I mean, why would they stay on the platform? There's no real incentive at that point. It's the same problem, ironically enough, that Xbox ran into, which is where when you make everything into an Xbox, nothing's an Xbox. When everything can play your game, there's no reason to have your hardware to run the game other than like just raw preference. But when cost becomes a factor, when other things like access become a factor, it becomes a trickier equation. So I think that this is not really that shocking or surprising, honestly. But what I find interesting more than anything is that it signals a pivot from Herman away from what his former boss, Jim Ryan, wanted to do. Herman, up to this point, has largely just done what the guy above him said. So like if Jim Ryan says, we're doing live service everything, Concord's going to be the next big thing, Herman just says, yes, sir. And then they keep doing it. Even after Jim Ryan left, he kind of kept up with the same trajectory and same strategy as we've seen, other than closing a lot of stuff. But that's been the broader strategy. This, though, is a direct pivot away from the Jim Ryan direction. And it's going to be fascinating. But it's more than anything, it's just fascinating to see that we seemingly are going to have sort of a renaissance. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think a renaissance of the console wars. I don't know yet if Asha Sharma is going to try and really be aggressive and like go exclusive with stuff. I genuinely don't know if she's going to do that. I think she could. Like, imagine if she comes out swinging and it's like, yep, Elder Scrolls 6 is Xbox platform exclusive. Like I don't know what that does, but that's going to be beefy, you know. And if they start to really push that.
5049 donated $20 through Super Chat. Once the Steam machine comes out, PlayStation is going to have some serious competition in the pricing of the next console.
We can only hope. I'm worried that the Steam machine is going to drop and it's going to be like $900 and there's going to be no units available. And then they'll be like, yeah, we'll restock it at $1,000. I'm braced for the Steam machine to be way more expensive than anybody thinks it is, but we'll see. We'll see. I think most likely the next PlayStation is somewhere between 800 and 1,000. I think the Project Helix Xbox has been designed to be like $1,200. I do think if they can find any which way to create a budget version, they will. And they'll come up with like a Helix S or something that's like a $600 console. And I think they're going to really try to do that. I don't know if they can at this point. It's kind of might be too late. But Sarah Bond, who was one of, the people in charge of all of that, she was signaling for years that the next Xbox was going to be an enthusiast premium machine, which just, I think, is a fancy way of saying it's going to be stupid expensive. So, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, as for the Steam machine specifically, I'm braced for it to be quite expensive. But having said that, I don't know if Asha is going to be hyper aggressive. I think if she were to be hyper aggressive, it would probably be good for the health of the industry, just to give PlayStation a little kick in the pants to really step it up a notch. The console warring has always been really cringe to me, but I think what console warring, ironically enough, represents is competition. And we just haven't really had that. And when we have no competition in the industry, everything just kind of stagnates, or studios and publishers end up going into like the greediest corners, and everything just stagnates and gets bloated and lame. It just sucks, It just sucks. Real quick, my wife is calling me. I think she needs me to put Romeo outside. Let me take this. I'll be right back, and then we'll wrap up, okay? I'll be right back. Gotta answer when the wife calls. I learned that lesson the hard way. Okay, I'm back. She didn't realize I was streaming. I just wanted to chat. Are you still streaming? I was like, yeah. Oh, okay, bye. I just want to make sure everything's good. Everything's cool, you know? He returned, feels bad, man. How dare you? So anyway, with all this, I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out. PlayStation seemingly is making pivots back to their old strategy. They have canned a lot of the live service stuff they were working on. They are still doubling down on some of it. So like, it seems like they're not getting rid of Bungie. They're not getting rid of Fair Game $. They're not getting rid of Horizon Hunters Gathering. So there is some stuff like that. They've shut down most of the other live service projects, and they are revving up to have potentially a new Sony Santa Monica game, potentially 2 new Naughty Dog games within a few years of each other, in addition to a bunch of other stuff they've had going on in the background from some of their other studios. There's even rumors of an Infamous game coming. We, of course, have Wolverine and a Venom game that's expected. So there's a bunch of stuff that they have in the pipeline that I think they are going to really try to push for, but it's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out. But yeah, I would not be surprised if the next generation in terms of exclusivity and stuff looks a lot more like the PS4 than it does the PS5. It's going to be fascinating. Exclusives don't kill gaming. Gaming was literally built on exclusives. Well, I think that the exclusives, they serve the point of getting people to join and go under a tent, because if they want access to this suite of games or this studio's games or this genre of games that's known or primarily developed by this company, they got to go into that tent and they got to, you know, put their money where their mouth is. And it works. It works. I think it's unfortunate that then you end up with a lot of people that never get to experience really good games because they just don't have the right box. I think that sucks. You know, again, if I was the God King of gaming, I would put everything everywhere all at once for a cheap price and, you know, no de novo. Like if I was God King of gaming, I would do things differently. But these companies, they're going to do what they think is best for the company, not necessarily what's best for the customer or consumer at the end of the day. The one saving grace for the consumer with all of this is that if it does just lead to higher competition and increased competition, that could legitimately help the broader industry, but it's just a matter of whether they can get there, you know, because it takes 2 to tango. If PlayStation is willing to really compete and Xbox is willing to really compete, it could make things really, really interesting, but time will tell. Nobody complains about Mario being exclusive. Yeah, well, I think part of the reason that they don't is because it's not even worth entertaining. Like the idea that Nintendo would ever bring any of their stuff to another platform is such a foreign concept that I think it's just people don't even bother talking about it. Whereas like for PlayStation, it's like, yeah, they could totally do that. Xbox, obviously, totally do that. But for Nintendo, it's like, can you even imagine if they were to do that? I can't even fathom them doing that. Imagine a Steam launch of the next Zelda game. Like they just would never, ever do that. You know, they just never would. Let's see. I'll catch up on a couple of these. Then I want to talk about something that happened in Portuguese. You heard me. I'm going to show it to you. It's going to blow your mind. Not really. It's kind of, I don't understand why it's a big story, but we're going to talk about it anyways. Let's see. Victor, did I already read these? Did it scroll all the way up? I think it did. It totally did. I see. The worst year of my life is someone who doesn't care about GTA. I can only imagine if you really don't like GTA, this has got to be a bizarre year for you. it's gotta be bizarre. How is Black Flag? I can't talk about it yet, but soon I will be able to. The only romance I genuinely enjoyed were from Fire Emblem franchise with in-combat boosts. Hell yeah, you're practical. I like that. Todd, again, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships and the 39 months. Luke, hope you've been well. Been flat out at work myself. To the guy who broke up with his partner, dude, you'll be fine. Give it time. Trust me. Yeah. As you guys know, Todd, he went through a rough period a couple years back. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I'm glad to see you're doing well, Todd. And I hope that you you continue to do well. Whoops, it scrolled too far. Vitanese, thank you for that. Todd Howard is like the soul stone. There's a special place among the others, certain knowledge. You got to give away what you love. Oh, Todd. Real quick, in chat, predictions. Do you think Todd retires before or after Fallout 5? Bear in mind, right now I think he's early 50s. Fallout 5 probably comes out circa 2035. Or, yeah, do you think Todd ever retires? Do you think he pushes all the way to Starfield 2? It's like, this time we got it. This time we'll get it right. This first time, close, but no cigar. This time, though, we got it. Master Guide, thank you for the 11 months. Give the puppies so they can forget their crunching. Dude, I think we're going to get another dog, too. I think we're getting another dog. I realize Romeo needs a friend. He needs a sister, someone to play with him, burn some energy. I think we're going to do it. I think this summer we're doing doggy number 2. So buckle up. He's starting to mellow out. I'm hoping I can get him to the point where he just comes down and chills with us while we stream. He's mellowing out a little, but he's still like a year-old puppy, you know. He's crazy. But he's a good boy. He's like, oh, what are you doing? Let me hop up on your lap while you're doing it. And he weighs like 80 pounds, you know, so it doesn't work too good. After Elder Scrolls 6, oh, you think he's going to retire like start of next gen, basically, or like 2028? I don't think he's retiring that soon. I do think so. We have heard rumblings of how he has tried to build the studio out and rework the studio to allow like other people to have control of stuff. So he doesn't want to just be the almighty dictator. Shocking, I know. He wants other people to be decision makers. So I think Todd is trying to rev up to the point where he can step away or be much less involved. But I don't know if, I don't know him, so I don't know if he's ever going to be one of those guys that wants to retire. I don't know if Todd's like, I cannot wait to get away on my boat, or if he's like, I never want to retire. I want to do this till the day I die. I don't know what his preference is. Because I know some people where they're like, I cannot wait to retire. Other people are like, I never want to retire. I don't know where he is. Yeah, I don't know. Literally no one thinks GTA will flop. It basically can. I think for GTA, to be clear, day one console sales stories, the narrative part of the game, that's going to do gangbusters and it's going to be huge. GTA Online, that's the bigger question. Like, can the online continue to make the billions and billions and billions that the current GTA Online makes? That I genuinely don't know. But I do know they've bought roleplay server managers. They've bought out modders who build out tool sets for that stuff. Like they have spent an ungodly amount of money to try and get it to the point where it has all of those tools that were slowly added to GTA Online, but it has them day one. So it's going to be fascinating. Kurt, thank you for that membership. Thank you for that. Moofies, thank you for the 5. This isn't game related, but how do you feel about the Backrooms movie? I've not seen it. I've seen some snippets and some like trailers. I saw they rebuilt a bunch of the sets. It seems interesting. I'm a big fan of like lost media deep dives. It's one of my guilty pleasure videos. Like I can't even tell you how many documentaries and stuff I've watched on how they've tried to find like the OG Jack the Killer images and stuff. I just, it's fascinating to me. Did I say Jack? Jeff the Killer. I find that whole plot line so fascinating. And like, I need to, I don't know why I feel like it's a plot line. Like, I feel like the story is going to resolve. I feel like we're going to find one day the OG image for Jeff the Killer. But anyway, I could talk about that at length. I find lost media stuff fascinating. And the people that hunt it down are brilliant. It's so crazy. Geoff the Killer. My name is Jeff. Yes. Chase, thank you for the 2. What are you doing first in GTA 6 in detail? I think we all know. You know? I think we all know. Drive, yeah. Is that a Dutch Bros on your desk? It is. It is. Started the morning out right. Took the kiddos to drop off little man at school, and then got myself a treat before heading home. Yeah. It was a good time. How is the mold in Singapore? I think I can share this because it's not technically having to do with the game. But you guys remember, real quick, in one of our stream segments, we talked about mold with Black Flag Resynced. We were watching a gameplay snippet, and I just said, bro, how do they manage mold out here? It's got to be so humid. The moisture's got to be insane. The mold's got to be crazy. How did Edward keep his suit clean and not just constantly have swamp ass and all this? And I went on for like 10 minutes about mold and swamp ass and all this stuff. And I was just talking. I met the game director for Black Flag Resynced, and I can't talk about anything said about the game until I think Thursday. But the game director of Black Flag Resynced, I walk in the room to interview him, and he says, Luke the Mold Stevens. He had seen the video, and their like head of animation also mentioned that when they were doing some motion capture stuff, they had a video of mine pulled up, and I was talking about mold. I was like, of course that's the one you guys see. When I'm just rambling about mold for some reason. Luke the Mold Stevens. Yeah, so that's the nickname now, I think. It was pretty priceless. It was quite funny. I was like, first of all, I'm flattered that you watched the videos. Second of all, I'm sorry I spent like 10 minutes talking about mold while you're like, oh, look at all the work we've been doing to remake this classic game. And like, what about the mold on the couch cushions? It's like, get out ADHD, the channel. Oops. What are you going to do? All hail the mold indeed. Real quick, I want to talk about this. Let's do this. New segment on the down low. Buckle up, buttercup, here we go. It's time to talk about a journalist. Oh God. Are you ready? Amen. Do you know the moldy man? Yes, I know the moldy man who lives in the Caribbean. Okay. You guys ready? Okay. Are you ready? We have a story originating from a Brazilian games journalist, my friends. Buckle up, buckaroo. Not IGN, no. This story started spreading like wildfire over the weekend. And frankly, I don't know why, because to me, it sounds like just raw, rampant speculation, which I love dearly, but people were taking it as fact. And so I want to talk about it and offer my 2 cents on this stuff, because I do think it's an interesting topic. Oh, chat. Thank you. It's refreshed. Let me refresh the source, the cache, and see if it stays. So what is this story? Well, look at this. GTA 6 review copies won't be distributed, it's claimed. Basically, the claim, yeah, it might seem obvious to some, but the topic of Take-Two and Rockstar Games locking down review copies of GTA 6 came into the picture recently. This is a game that hardly needs reviews, as it'll sell well regardless of what gaming outlets say. But according to one claim, Rockstar Games and Take-Two have a specific plan for review opportunities. No one will review GTA 6, is the headline. When developers and publishers circulate review copies and codes, there's one key concern on their minds, and that's that they are opening the door to leaks. While reviews and previews are carried out under embargo and sometimes under strict NDA, it's an inevitable risk that accompanies every early access offering. It is true. With the biggest games ever, like especially the biggest trending games that are like hyper viral, you'll see this all the time. I told you guys how like at one point with Starfield, I have a Synology server, like a NAS that we use to store footage. Because when I play a game for review or critique, I record everything. So if I play the game for 60 hours, I have 60 hours of recorded footage in 4K 60, you know? So I have to have a server to store all of that on. At some point in the months leading up to Starfield's launch, I didn't realize this, but at some point, I had shown like a bookmarked link to my Synology NAS login page. Somebody had gone into that, taken the URL, then tried to hack in and brute force their way into my NAS to get access to the Starfield recorded footage. Like, crazy for Starfield. Okay, imagine what they would do for GTA 6. Okay, like it's crazy. Yeah, they hacked into your what? Yeah, my NAS. Yes, it's crazy what people will do, but that's the level of effort they will go to get access to this footage when it's all under lockdown. People are curious. And I can only imagine how crazy intense that would be for GTA 6. So what seems likely to me is that if Rockstar does review codes, which I think they kind of have to, I can't imagine that they just say there's no reviews going out. They technically could do that. Live service games do that all the time where they don't do reviews early because you don't get to experience the game until everybody is playing. So like, you know, you can't exactly play Overwatch when there's nobody playing Overwatch. You know, it doesn't work that way. So maybe they do it that way, but I would be more inclined to believe that there's going to be like some very, very selective process. They'll only give it to like IGN, and IGN gets one code. They only give it to like the big outlets. They're not risking it with YouTubers. They're not risking it with streamers. They're not doing none of that. That's kind of my expectation, is that they just go hyper lockdown. That's what I think. X is Y Killer. Thank you for gifting 5 subs over on Twitch. My goodness, incredibly generous. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And then also Syndicate for the sub. Hello, sir. Playing Starfield again for some reason and having a good time. Thanks for the content. For some reason, really sells it. Thank you, my friend. Thoughts on Lego Batman? I'm enjoying it. It's baller. It's a vibe. I haven't gotten too far into it. I think I'm like an hour and a half, 2 hours in. But yeah, it's a vibe. I haven't tested performance as much as I want to, but yeah, we'll do that in the main channel video, probably going up later today. And then, gifted another 5 subs. Very generous. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. If you're on Twitch, get your booty over in the Discord. Connect your accounts, my friends. Get over there. It'd be great to see you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Okay, to circle this out, what is this story, though, talking about? Well, they didn't really ask. A Brazilian journalist offered thoughts on a podcast about what he thinks is going to happen. And I'll just let this play for you. Now, it is in Portuguese. And I realize now that he does look shockingly similar to Sam Hyde. Which is just, I had never noticed that until this moment. But I'll just let this play out. And then I'll read back the text that was said, okay?
Tem a história de que vai ter... Ninguém vai receber a chave desse jogo, né?
Okay, I'll just read it as we go through it. It has the story that it will have. Nobody is going to get the key to this game. Do you remember this story? I haven't heard that, but I don't doubt it. This is like a podcast that they're doing, seemingly. Can I talk about this? I think I can. I'm going to talk. F it. It looks like there's going to be some kind of review event. They're going to send the journalists. They're going to have the journalists travel. Stay for days so there are no leaks. So there's no risk of leaks, man. Like, everyone is going to play this indoors. Am I sure there would be someone to do that from there? That makes sense, right? It makes a lot of sense. But how many days will they stay locked up there? Haha. It's GTA, man. It's GTA. People will do what they need to do. That is the whole thing that then started spreading like wildfire. Confirmed! Game journalist says no reviews. Which is literally not what he said. He said, it appears that they might be doing this thing where they bring people out to play the game behind closed doors where they can lock it down, which is still literally a review. It's just saying if you want to review it, you got to go and basically stay in a hotel and then play it 12 hours a day for a week straight, I guess. But this sounds to me like speculation, frankly. It sounds to me like speculation. I think the odds of this happening quite low. If they're going to skip reviews, I think they do maybe an extended preview where maybe they let you play the game. They bring like very selective media from big outlets like IGN, and they bring them out to play the game for 6 hours straight. And then the next day they let them play another 6 hours free roam in a late game save, just doing open world stuff. And that's it. I think that's more likely than they pay for them to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks to finish the game. Like, I can't imagine them doing that. I just can't imagine. Yes, they're worried about leaks, but I think if they have the option between doing that and maybe just selective previews, and they're like, everybody understands we can't do traditional reviews for this because it will leak. I mean, even games that like nobody was that crazy hyped for leak regularly, like where some, there's a YouTuber who has an editor, and the editor is like decides to leak gameplay footage even though they didn't record it, even though the YouTuber didn't record it, their editor chooses to leak it. And so it's like everybody down the chain of command. And like, just to remind you, the original GTA 6 trailer number 1, I believe it was trailer 1, this trailer was scheduled to go up. And at least the story goes that somebody at YouTube, an actual YouTube person with access to the back end, saw that the trailer was on Rockstar's YouTube channel and was able to access it and leak it from there. So like somebody within YouTube was leaking it. So even if you're storing your gameplay footage on like Dropbox, bro, there might be an employee at Dropbox that leaks it. They see, oh, this game reviewer has access to this footage for GTA 6. I'll just leak it on 4chan real quick. I wouldn't put it past anybody. Dude, I wouldn't put it past anybody. This is like such another level of craziness and hype. There's just nothing quite like it that's ever existed in the games industry. So like if somebody can get 10 minutes of gameplay footage unedited before anybody else, that's worth thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. You know, just that access alone is extremely valuable. Having preview access for the biggest game of the decade is worth so much money for the outlet like an IGN or PC Gamer, and certainly for anybody else that would be able to leak it. You know, everybody is going to be trying to get their hands on it. Everybody. So it would not surprise me if they go super locked down and super restrictive with the review process. It would not surprise me at all, not one lick. But I think that the level to which people have run with this, and this, to be fair, this article from Insider Gaming does point out it's been claimed by a dude that this is what they're doing. That does not mean it's confirmed, does not mean that that's what's happening. It's just a dude said a thing. Which is like the lowest possible standard for being convinced of anything. But I've seen a number of other outlets and certainly a lot of the GTA YouTubers and streamers and TikTokers running with this. Did you see GTA 6 just confirmed it won't get review copies? And they run with it like that. And it's crazy that that's the standard, but that's how we are. Source, a dude, literally, that's what they're doing. I think, again, I do think they'll be hyper restrictive. I don't think this will look like a standard one. Like, I would not expect to get a review code for GTA 6. I think it's going to be, there's like 10 codes globally. I think they give one to people in China. They give one code to a Brazilian creator, one code to a European creator, one code to a British creator, one or two codes to American creators, one Canadian. Like, I think that they will break it down like that, and it's going to be extremely selective, and it's probably going to go to big outlets. And if not big outlets, it's going to be to people that they consider to be very, very reliable or like trustworthy, you know, somebody that's not considered to be a risk of leaking stuff, you know. Yeah, Rad Brad, somebody like that. Exactly. I think that that's probably the type of person that would get it. And the NDAs and stuff that you would have to sign to get access to it, I'm sure would be otherworldly, but where it's like, yeah, this is your gameplay footage. We're going to put a watermark on your screen and it's just going to be in your review footage. Suck it up. And if any of it leaks, we'll know it's you and we will sue you with the divine smiting power of insanity, you know? It's going to be crazy. X is White Killer, thank you also for another 5 gifted subs over on Twitch. Incredibly generous. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. DSP and Boogie are the only two that get codes. Dude, isn't it insane that there was a time where Boogie probably would have been the one to get it? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Like, there was a time he won like trending gamer. Like, there was a time where Boogie probably would have been seen as like a safe enough, reliable bet to give GTA 6 too early. Like, that's not that insane, dude. Like, times change indeed. Yeah, it's crazy to think where we were a decade ago, you know, how things change. Luke, have you reserved your GTA hotel room yet? Yeah, I booked it. I should just email them. Be like, guys, I already booked my hotel right outside the office, ready to go. Just let me know when the game's available. Yeah. I'm ready to jump on. Just let me know. Let me know. Jesus. Anyway, let me finish catching up on these real quick. Luke, painting one mini was not safe. A shelf of minis, an airbrush. Looking at brushes made of some Russian weasel's hair, butt hair, not safe. Dude, painting minis, it is a dangerous thing to start, because once you start, you cannot stop. That is absolutely true. GTA Quarantine, yeah, I think it's just, it's going to be very, very locked down. Maybe what they do, I mean, this is the other side that they could do, where they just they do a massive event and they invite hundreds of creators out and they all get to play like 2 hours of the game, and they just hope that that's enough to like satiate them. I don't think they'll do that, because if I recall correctly, Rockstar with Red Dead Redemption 2 was also pretty locked down. They did reviews, of course, for that, but I think the level of hype for GTA 6 is on another planet. So, yeah. Screw that editor Matty used to have. Oh yeah, I remember that whole thing. I felt so bad for Matty. Like, it literally is not his fault. He has an editor that's editing his review, and then his editor runs and drops a bunch of the footage online. It's just insane. Like, but that's why I told my team after that happened, I was like, this is a great reminder that we've all signed NDAs, and I will find out if it's you. And it whatever clout you're gonna get anonymously online is not worth it. Okay, it's just not. My team's all great. I don't think they would ever do anything, but I'm sure Matty would have said the same thing for his guys. It's just, once you're nobody expects to be betrayed like that, you know. Nobody expects it. Real quick, how long do you think Holst will lead PlayStation? Again, my expectation, I said like 3 years ago I thought he'd be gone by now. I don't know, man. I don't understand how you can blow like $5 billion on live service crap that goes nowhere and still have a job. Like, I genuinely don't understand how he has a job. I don't get it. So I would guess by the end of the generation he's gone and they'll put somebody new in place, but I would have guessed that he'd be gone a year ago, 2 years ago. After Concord, you'd think that would be a big enough oopsie that he'd be booted out, but nope. Jacob from Lost. Dude, I haven't thought about Jacob from Lost in a long time. That's crazy. What a throwback. Not Loco, thank you for the 10. I think one way to look at crunch is what industry you're in. If you play baseball for a living, you're expected to work your ass off because it's competitive. Not all industry is equally competitive. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the desire was to try and take gaming into more of a relaxed, less crunch heavy industry. And then Eastern Studios stepped up and were like, okay, so you're not going to crunch? Well, we are. And we're going to get games out faster and respond to feedback faster, and players are going to buy our games more, and you're going to be left, taking 6 years, 7 years to get games out the door. And all of a sudden that doesn't really work that well, when somebody else is beating you to the punch. So I do think you're right. The industry does matter. It does matter. Well, the great thing of that for that, Arsenal just won the Premier League. I'm in pain. You'll be okay. You'll make it. You'll make it. Nate, thank you for the 10. Hi, Luke. Welcome back. Can I ask your personal Q? I just bought a NAS Ugreen NA Sync DH2300 because my 10 terabyte desktop got full. I was wondering, do you use a NAS or SAN when you store your raw videos? Yeah, I just use like the basic Synology NAS software and everything. I have 4 drives. They're not striped. They're set up in, I forget exactly the RAID configuration. One of them can fault and the data is protected. I think it's 48 terabytes of total storage is what I have in there. Because I think it's 4 16 terabyte drives. But yeah, I just use the basic stuff. And then I have this NAS mirrored to a NAS that's in Jacob's office as well. So everything that I do on this server gets copied over to his. So any sort of data I have here copies over to his. So we don't have to stress about uploading or doing anything like that. Yeah, pretty clean and easy. Bender, thank you for the 20. Once the stream machine, I did read that one earlier, or it read it for me. So Sony's going back to exclusives, good for business choice or bad, and rumor Xbox might be doing the same route or going the same route, says Nerdy Giant. Yeah, it does seem like Sony's going back to exclusives for single player stuff, and I think Xbox is evaluating options. At this point, they're pretty deep down the trench of cross-platform everything, but I think Asha is willing to consider any option, which was not true of Phil and Sarah. I think Phil and Sarah were pretty much locked in to what they were doing. So I think it's probably, like, at this point, good that Asha's willing to entertain anything, but I'm sure she's doing tons of research and they're doing all sorts of crazy market analysis and crazy data analytics to determine, hey, if we were to make this exclusive, what would be our conversion rates? How long would we lose money before we'd start to move console units and stuff? I'm sure they're evaluating all of that. I think it's on the table for Xbox to go back. I don't know how likely it is, but I think the fact that PlayStation seemingly is going exclusive again, that starts to really interest them. They're going to start to wonder. So I don't know. We'll see. People who get codes might have to sign a literal $1 million NDA. Don't talk about it or we will kidnap your dog. Yeah, I mean, it's most NDAs from the ones I've signed are very open-ended, where it's basically the company is allowed to sue you for damages. So, and the reason that's scary is because they get to determine what those damages are. So for example, if you leak something and they say, hey, your leak cost us this many thousands of sales, that's worth $15 million. We're suing you for $15 million. And you have to then argue that either you didn't break the NDA or it didn't break the NDA to that extent, and maybe you only cost them 5,000 copies. Like it. And then there's other things that they can ask for, like punitive damages, where if it's shown that you were like reckless or like you signed the NDA, you knew what you were doing and you chose to leak it anyways for internet cloud or something, they could then go and say, we need punitive damages where we want to punish them for breaking the NDA and pursue damages. So then they get to double dip. And so maybe they say you only cost us 5,000 units worth of sales, still a hefty chunk of change, but we also want punitive damages to basically ruin your life. You know, like they could do anything like that. Anything like that. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Batman review when I was filming my impressions preview thing before this. The story for why I don't have a Lego Batman review is because we talked to them about it. They gave my name to somebody at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers did some search of my content, seemingly finding the Suicide Squad videos we did, and decided to not respond anymore. Which, fair. We talked a lot about that game. But yeah, it was quite funny. We were chatting with them like, yeah, no, we're looking good. And then at some point, somebody at Warner Brothers did not have a sense of humor, did not like how much we talked about that. So yeah. But this is what you get when you say what you want and say what you think about the games. Like, I'm going to say what I think, sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I get it wrong or whatever, but I'm going to say what I think. And in the case of Suicide Squad, they did not like what I thought. And so I still think Lego Batman looks awesome. And from what I've played, plays really awesome. My opinion's not going to change because they are upset over Suicide Squad. It was bad. What do you want me to say? It sucked. Hot take alert. I'm not going to change what I think. It just is how it is. Can you believe there's no trash can there? I just threw it on the floor. AC Jade when? That's a great question. I don't think they know. The Nugget, thank you. I'm just gonna read it.
At the Nugget 2016 donated $19.99 through Super Chat. Welcome back, Luke. The games
my
that
friend.
made me fall in love with Xbox are Gears of War and Halo. Those games had true standalone stories and campaigns that were worth it, gripping and
Classic Xbox coupled with great multiplayer. Yeah, dude, can we just all collectively come together and ask that we get back to the days of really good single player games also having solid multiplayer modes? Now everything has to be spun off into its own live service, free to play, bull crap, whatever the hell. And it drives me crazy. Back in the day, you'd buy a really good campaign and then it came with a really awesome multiplayer mode. It was awesome. I do think if they were to do that with the next Halo, that alone could go gangbusters and people would eat that up. Now it's kind of flipped where you get the new Call of Duty and it's Call of Duty that features a 3-hour campaign that sucks. It's just, the effort plummeted. God, I wish Halos would just stop being made. Dude, they keep trying. And they've hired multiple generative AI executives for Halo Studios. I don't know, man. We're going to see how that goes. But yeah, I think what's encouraging to me about Asha, and so far, to be clear, she's done a lot of messaging, and I think the positivity that is, and the energy that's starting to flare up is really encouraging. But I think for Asha, we're seeing crazy engagement rates on her social media stuff, 81,000 likes on a post about the new logo reveal. It's crazy. This post, 75,000 likes. Xbox needs to move faster, deeper connection with the community. Basic strategizing stuff, removing Copilot on console, stuff like that, which probably was already going to happen, but still. This stuff is really encouraging. And to me, my hope is that it just shows that she is willing to investigate options and entertain options. I hope that she actually acts on it and is aggressive, because I think just what's clear is what Xbox was doing was not working at all. At all. So any change is probably good. They won't get it right every time. She's going to make some mistakes. She's going to take a step in this direction. She should have gone the other way and then, get back on track. But I think as long as she's willing to turn around and start going the other direction, if she gets a little off occasionally, we can deal with that. We can give feedback, but she's listening to feedback in a way that no one at Xbox has in a decade, which is encouraging. So we'll see. What's your take on the PS5 Plus price change? The PlayStation Plus stuff. I think it's so stupid. They're oh yeah, market conditions cause the price to rise. It's bitch, it's an online subscription service. What are you talking about? This isn't RAM shortages. You're just charging more because you can get it. What are we doing? What are we doing? But that's the same type of behavior that's just going to push people closer and closer to PC, it's just insane. It's digital. I know. It's madness. It's and they think that just say market conditions and we can raise prices wherever we want. It's get out of here. Get out of here. Dry up. Anyway. Let's see. You're the reason the Megamind game Megamind that's good. Why the Megamind game failed and why they stopped making multiplayer in single player games. Trust me, I saw the Mind's Eye trailer. Yes, caught red-handed. Yes, I am the reason Mind's Eye flopped. Guilty. Oh. Luke, why do you need, or why do they need to put this much vulgarity and nudity into GTA 6 when it's a hit anyway? You assume it's a hit in spite of the nudity and vulgarity, when perhaps it's a success also, potentially, because of the vulgarity. Perhaps, my friend, little bit of titty, little bit of booty, maybe that helps move copies. It might just be the case that helps, doesn't hurt. And if you were to remove it, it might not feel like GTA anymore, you know? Imagine a GTA where there's no clubs, where there's no cursing, like it's a PG-13 T for teen GTA 6. I don't think it would feel like GTA 6. I think it would feel, I have a sneeze coming. It's like sitting right there. Oh, I don't think it would feel like GTA anymore. I don't think that works. I think if you do that, you end up with Saints Row reboot, and we all know how that went. Didn't go too well. Calm down, Grandma. Well, it might be bait. I understand. Some people think that comment might be bait. I don't know what it's bait for, but I will say I grew up in, as you guys know, very, very like hardcore conservative Christian household. Harry Potter was of the devil. Pokemon was demonic. You name it, it was probably demonic. So I grew up in those households, and this would be a question that would regularly be brought up. Like, GTA is training a generation of serial killers. You know, like that's the play. Like those are the churches I grew up in. So obviously not there anymore. But like I know that there are people that do ask those questions and mean them honestly and earnestly. So I think it's worth engaging and talking about it genuinely. But yeah, it's. I think the number of people that will enjoy GTA 6 for the dirtiness far outnumber the number of people that would play it only if it were puritanical, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. I was going to add on to that. I was like, yeah, I don't need to go into another diatribe on that. Once again, asking for more love to Night Rain. Even after being out a year and barely any content, it's still got more players than Marathon and other live services. Dude, it's just people who like From Software games that connected with it, that it's become their new obsession. And I mean, that is one where I can proudly and loudly say I was wrong. Like, I did not think Night Rain would do anywhere near as well as it did. I just totally underestimated the number of people that would be down for a game like Night Rain. I mean, I did not think that game was going to pop off the way it did, but man, it did. Art is not puritanical. It shouldn't be. I think once you start putting rigid restrictions on what can and can't be shown, you get into trouble. To be fair, I mean, you could technically say that like some of the most impressive artworks, the Sistine Chapel, are technically a sort of puritanical. I mean, it's a depiction of holy scenes. It's not exactly raunchy, but I think on a sort of philosophical level, it's important for art, whether it's poems or books or games or stories in general, they should be opened, and you should be able to tell the story you want to tell, even if it's horny and dirty. You know, that's part of the magic. That's part of it. Let's see, where did I read all these? Luke, tell me you watched the recent Strauss Zelnick interview. He had a cool story about Take-Two. Yeah, I think we're gonna go through it next stream. I think so. It looked interesting. It looked very interesting. Okay, I think we're caught up there. Oh, my browser froze. That's fantastic. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's trying. My browser's just freezing. Oh my God. Anyway. Okay, fam, I'm going to call it there because I've got to go finish filming this Lego Batman video. So I'm going to go finish that. I've got to test it on the Steam Deck and Legion Go 2 and then my laptop. It's going to be good. Do you have a stream schedule? We usually stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. In the States, it's like middle of the day. So like usually roughly 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., something like that. It wiggles every once in a while. This week, again, it was thrown off. Yesterday, I was still like hella jet lagged and trying to recover, let my wife sleep in and stuff. So we were recovering. But usually it's Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, typically what we do. Anyway, much love. I will see you guys possibly tomorrow. It depends. Honestly, it depends if we have a news story or two break. But either way, I'll be back soon. We'll get back in the swing of things. Thank you for putting up with the kind of delays with all this while I was traveling and stuck in Singapore. I appreciate you guys. Much love. I will see you soon. Until next time, hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.